August 9th, 1941. 15,000 feet above occupied France. Squadron leader Douglas Bader's Spitfire erupts in flames. He's been hit. The aircraft is spinning, losing altitude fast. Any other pilot would bail out immediately. But Douglas Bader isn't any other pilot. Because when he tries to jump, his artificial leg gets jammed in the cockpit. The leg he's been flying with. The leg that shouldn't even be there. See, Douglas Bader had already done the impossible. He'd lost both legs in a flying accident 10 years earlier. The Royal Air Force had rejected him, told him he'd never fly again. But by 1941, he was one of Britain's most decorated fighter aces. 22 confirmed kills, a squadron leader, a legend. And now, trapped in a burning Spitfire with one prosthetic leg jammed in twisted metal, he's about to do something even more impossible. This is the story of the man who proved that the only real disability is giving up. Act 1. The Golden Boy, 1910 to 1931. February 21st, 1910. St. John's Wood, London. Douglas Robert Stewart Bader is born into privilege. His father is a civil engineer working in India. Money, status, education. At the finest schools. But young Douglas? He's not interested in being a gentleman. He wants adventure. At school, he's ferocious. Rugby, cricket, boxing. He doesn't just play sports, he dominates them. Teachers describe him as utterly fearless and impossibly stubborn. When he wants something, nothing stops him. Not rules, not authority, not common sense. This personality trait, it will save his life and nearly destroy it. Age 18. Bader joins the Royal Air Force College at Cranwell. He's found his calling. Flying isn't just a skill, it's oxygen to him. He's a natural. Instructors are amazed by his reflexes, his precision, his absolute confidence in the air. But there's a problem. Douglas Bader doesn't believe in limits. While other cadets fly by the book, he's doing unauthorized aerobatics 50 feet off the ground, barrel rolls, loops, inverted flying. His commanding officers are furious. He's brilliant, but reckless. They warn him repeatedly, one day, your arrogance will kill you. December 14th, 1931. Woodley Airfield near Reading. Bader, now 21, is showing off for some friends. He's flying a Bristol Bulldog biplane. Witnesses say he was attempting low-altitude aerobatics. What happens next changes everything. He attempts a slow roll at less than 50 feet. The wingtip clips the ground. The aircraft cartwheels, disintegrates. Bader is thrown clear, but the damage is catastrophic. His right leg is severed above the knee. His left leg is crushed beyond repair, hanging by threads of tissue. He's 21 years old. His flying career should be over. Most men would accept their fate. Douglas Bader, he's just getting started. Act 2. The Impossible Comeback, 1931 to 1939. Royal Berkshire Hospital. Bader regains consciousness after emergency surgery. The doctors have amputated his right leg above the knee. They're trying to save the left, but it's too damaged. A few days later, they take the left leg too, just below the knee this time, but still gone. His fiancée, Thelma, visits him. She's expecting to console a broken man. Instead, Bader looks at her and says, "Don't worry, I'll be dancing with you again within 6 months." She thinks it's the morphine talking, but he's dead serious. January 1932. Bader is fitted with artificial legs. Crude by today's standards, heavy metal and leather contraptions that most amputees take months to master. Bader, he's walking in 2 weeks, running in 4. The doctors are stunned, but Bader's not impressed with himself. Walking isn't enough. He wants to fly. The RAF's response is swift and brutal. No, absolutely not. Medically unfit for service. Your career is over. To them, it's common sense. A pilot with no legs? Impossible. Dangerous. Liability. To Bader, it's a challenge. He spends months lobbying, arguing, demonstrating. He proves he can drive a car. He learns to play golf. He even plays tennis. But the RAF won't budge. Finally, in 1932, they give him one chance, a flight test. The examining officer watches as Bader climbs into a Bulldog biplane, the same model that nearly killed him. He takes off, and for the next 20 minutes, he performs aerobatics that would impress any able-bodied pilot. Barrel rolls, loops, inverted flying, perfect landings. The officer's assessment? Bader can fly as well as anyone in the RAF. But the medical board overrules him. The regulations are clear. Pilots must be physically fit. No exceptions. Bader is devastated, but he's not defeated. If he can't be a military pilot, he'll be a civilian one. He gets a job with Shell Oil Company, flying executives around. It pays well, but it's not what he wants. For 7 years, he flies commercial routes, gets married to Thelma, builds a quiet life. But in the back of his mind, there's always that thought, I could be more. September 1939. Germany invades Poland. Britain declares war. Everything changes. The RAF is desperate for pilots, experienced pilots, any pilots. Bader sees his opening. He writes directly to the Air Ministry. I can fly. I've been flying commercially for years. You need pilots. I'm a pilot. This time, they listen. October 1939. 8 years after losing his legs, Douglas Bader is reinstated in the Royal Air Force. He's 29 years old. Most fighter pilots are in their early 20s. He's given a Hurricane fighter and assigned to a training squadron. The RAF brass thinks he'll be useful for instruction, teaching young pilots, a desk job with occasional flying. They have no idea what's coming. Act 3. Battle of Britain, 1940. May 20th, 1940. Germany invades France. The Blitzkrieg is unstoppable. British forces are evacuated from Dunkirk. France falls. Britain stands alone. And Douglas Bader? He's finally gotten what he wanted. A fighter squadron. He's assigned to 242 Squadron, a unit of demoralized Canadian pilots who've just been mauled in France. They've lost aircraft, lost friends, lost confidence. Their new commander walks into the briefing room on artificial legs. The Canadians think it's a joke, some crippled officer assigned to babysit them while the real war happens elsewhere. Bader's first words to them are, "We're going to be the best squadron in fighter command, and anyone who doesn't believe that can leave right now." Nobody leaves. Within weeks, Bader has transformed 242 Squadron. He drills them relentlessly, teaches them tactics, builds their confidence, but most importantly, he leads from the front. July 1940, the Battle of Britain begins. Germany launches massive bombing raids on Britain. The goal? Destroy the RAF, then invade. The odds are brutal. The Luftwaffe has more planes, more pilots, more experience. But they don't have Douglas Bader.
His first combat mission, July 11th, 1940. He leads 242 Squadron into a formation of German bombers over the English Channel. Within minutes, he shoots down a Dornier bomber. His squadron kills 5 more. They return to base without a single loss. Over the next 3 months, Bader becomes a legend. He's flying multiple sorties per day. His tactics are aggressive, unconventional, and devastatingly effective. Other pilots notice something strange. Bader never blacks out during high-G maneuvers. When other pilots pull hard turns and lose consciousness from blood draining from their brains, Bader stays sharp. Why? Because he has no legs. No blood pooling in his lower extremities. His brain stays oxygenated while others pass out. The disability that ended his first career? It's now giving him an advantage. But Bader's real innovation isn't physical, it's tactical. Standard RAF doctrine is to fly in tight formations of 3 aircraft. Bader thinks this is idiotic. He advocates for big wings, massive formations of 5 or more squadrons attacking together. His superiors resist. It's too complicated, too risky. Bader ignores them. He coordinates with other squadron leaders, organizes big wing formations without official approval. September 15th, 1940, the climax of the Battle of Britain. Germany launches its largest raid yet, hundreds of bombers escorted by fighters targeting London. Bader leads a big wing formation of 60 Hurricanes and Spitfires straight into them. The battle is chaos. aircraft dogfighting at 20,000 feet, bombers falling in flames, parachutes blossoming across the sky. When it's over, the Luftwaffe has lost dozens of aircraft. Bader's wing has destroyed or damaged 50 planes. Germany never launches another major daylight raid. The Battle of Britain is won. And Douglas Bader? He's credited with 22 confirmed kills. He's promoted to squadron leader, awarded the Distinguished Service Order and Bar. He's become exactly what the RAF said was impossible, one of the deadliest fighter pilots in the war. But his war is far from over. Act 4. Shot down and captured. 1941. 1941. The Battle of Britain is won, but the war continues. Bader leads fighter sweeps over occupied France. Offensive operations. Hunting German fighters. August 9, 1941. Bader is leading a mission over Le Touquet, France. His squadron spots German fighters below them. They dive to attack. What they don't see, another formation of German fighters above them. It's a trap. Bader's Spitfire is hit, either by enemy fire or a mid-air collision. Accounts differ, but the result is the same. His aircraft is crippled, on fire, spinning toward the ground. He tries to bail out. That's when his prosthetic leg gets jammed in the wreckage. For precious seconds, he's trapped. The aircraft is in a death spiral, altitude bleeding away. Any moment, he'll be too low for his parachute to open. He makes a decision that only Douglas Bader would make. He unbuckles the prosthetic leg, leaves it jammed in the cockpit, and jumps with only one artificial leg. His parachute opens. He descends into occupied France. German soldiers are waiting when he lands. They're shocked. This British pilot has one leg, and apparently lost the other during the bailout. He tells them the leg is still in the aircraft. The Germans search the wreckage. They find it. They're even more shocked when they realize this pilot has two artificial legs, and he was flying combat missions. The German pilots are amazed. Bader is taken to a Luftwaffe hospital. His captors treat him with respect, even admiration. Fighter pilots, regardless of nationality, have a code. One German officer asks permission from his superiors to request that the RAF drop a replacement prosthetic leg for Bader. The request is granted. A message is sent through neutral channels. Days later, a British bomber flies over the hospital, but instead of dropping bombs, they drop a canister containing a new artificial leg. Even in war, there's a moment of humanity. But Bader doesn't appreciate the gesture, because he's not planning to sit out the war in a POW camp. Within weeks of his capture, he attempts to escape. The Germans catch him. He tries again, caught again. He's so relentless that the Germans threaten to confiscate his artificial legs to stop him. Bader's response, "Then you'll have to carry me everywhere, and I'll make it as difficult as possible." They don't take his legs. He's eventually sent to Colditz Castle, a maximum security POW camp for incorrigible escapees. The Germans figure even Bader can't escape from there. He still tries, multiple times. The war ends in 1945. Bader is finally liberated. He's been a prisoner for 4 years. Most men would be broken by that experience. Bader, he's furious he didn't escape. Act 5. Post-war legacy. 1945-1982. Victory in Europe. May 1945. After 4 years in captivity, Douglas Bader returns to Britain. He's 35 years old, a national hero, one of the most famous fighter pilots in the world. The RAF offers him a permanent commission. He could continue his military career, rise through the ranks, comfortable retirement with full pension. Bader declines. Why? Because he doesn't want to fly desks. He wants to fly aircraft, and the RAF's post-war fighter squadrons are for younger men. Instead, he returns to civilian life, takes a position with Shell Oil Company, the same company that employed him before the war. He becomes a senior executive, successful, wealthy, but he never forgets where he came from. For the next 3 decades, Bader dedicates himself to helping disabled veterans. He visits hospitals, talks to amputees, tells them the same thing he proved with his life. Your disability doesn't define you. Your determination does. He raises millions for prosthetic research, campaigns for better healthcare for disabled veterans, pushes for legislation guaranteeing employment rights. He's knighted, Sir Douglas Bader, the same man the RAF once rejected as medically unfit, is now one of Britain's most honored citizens. He writes his autobiography. It becomes a bestseller. They make it into a movie, Reach for the Sky, starring Kenneth More. It's one of the highest-grossing British films of the 1950s. Bader's story inspires millions. Amputees around the world write to him. He answers every letter personally. He continues flying well into his 60s, still doing acrobatics, still pushing limits. September 4th, 1982, Douglas Bader suffers a heart attack while driving to a dinner event. He's 72 years old. He dies the next day. His funeral is held at St. Clement Danes Church in London, the RAF's official church. Thousands attend. Jet engines fly overhead in missing man formation. The man who lost his legs at 21, who was told he'd never fly again, who proved everyone wrong. The man who shot down 22 enemy aircraft with artificial legs, who survived 4 years in a POW camp, and who spent the rest of his life helping others overcome their disabilities. Douglas Bader is gone, but his legacy? That's immortal. Closing reflection, final 2 minutes. What made Douglas Bader extraordinary wasn't his flying skill. It wasn't his tactics. It wasn't even his determination, though he had all three in abundance. What made him extraordinary was his absolute refusal to accept limitations. When the doctors said he'd never walk again, he walked in 2 weeks. When the RAF said he'd never fly again, he became one of their greatest aces. When the Germans locked him in a maximum security POW camp, he tried to escape anyway. Throughout his life, people told him what he couldn't do, and throughout his life, he proved them wrong. But here's the thing. Bader wasn't superhuman. He struggled. He fell. He failed. He was arrogant, stubborn, sometimes difficult to work with. He made mistakes. What separated him from others wasn't that he never doubted himself. It's that he never let those doubts stop him. Today, when we talk about overcoming adversity, we often use cliches. Mind over matter. Never give up. Believe in yourself. Bader didn't need motivational posters. He just needed a challenge, and when you told him something was impossible, that was all the motivation he needed. He flew 22 combat missions and shot down 22 enemy aircraft, all without legs. The RAF rejected him because they thought his disability would prevent him from flying. Turns out, it was everyone else who was disabled, by their lack of imagination.